Today we're going to demonstrate the Leidenfrost Effect. And we're going to use a blowtorch, quarters, and a little bit of methanol. So I'm over here with table 1, and we've got a little petri dish here with just enough methanol to cover that quarter. And here's our blowtorch, and for safety, everyone's got eye protection, and I've got some water here to douse our tongs between each test. And some of the things we're thinking about in this, our essential question is, why does the methanol boil twice instead of once? We know methanol has a boiling temperature of about 145, but our quarter is going to glow red. It's going to get to about 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. So why does that methanol boil twice? And then the second question is, why does the quarter change colors? Why does it go from kind of a silvery color to sort of a pinkish brown color? So those are some of the questions that we want to think about during this lab. And we're going to start our blowtorch. Okay. And we're going to get our quarter ready. Okay. So step 1, heat the quarter. We want to get that quarter really hot. Almost ready. Want it really, really hot, about 1200 degrees. Okay, I'm going to put it into our methanol. Watch that first boil. There's the first boil. Now watch it calm down and stop. Watch it. Now wait for a second boil. Did you see the second boil?
Yeah.
That was weird. Okay, so I'm going to douse my tongs here for safety, and then I'm going to ask some questions here. So Chase, did you see that quarter boil twice?
Yeah.
It's not supposed to do that. Why did it boil 2 times?
Because of the copper.
Because of the copper? Okay. Let's take a look at our quarter. It kind of changed colors, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's got kind of a pinkish corner to it. That's weird. And we know that quarters are alloys. It's a mixture of mostly copper and nickel. And so when you get it really hot like that, some of that copper starts to come to the surface. And then that accounts for the change of color. And we know that's a physical change, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. But why did it boil a second time? Any idea about why it boiled a second time?
Because the second layer came out?
Okay, say that again.
Because of the second layer?
There's a layer, yeah, there's a layer of vapor that protects that quarter. So when it's exposed, when the methanol is exposed to something that hot, there's a thin layer of vapor that covers the quarter. And when that vapor breaks down, then the methanol actually touches the quarter and it boils a second time. And that's called the Leidenfrost Effect. And on Mythbusters, they featured a fellow who stuck his hand in molten lead and then pulled his hand out really quick and he didn't get burned. It's the same essential effect. As long as you've got that thin layer of vapor that's covering an object, you got about 2 seconds, maybe 1 second, until it actually burns. And so we're going to do this again, only now we're at table 2. Are you guys ready?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So, step 1, I've got our methanol right here. We've got our quarter ready. And we've let our tongs cool over here in the water. Okay. All right, so we're going to turn on our torch. Okay. We're going to get our quarter ready. And again, we got to get that quarter really, really hot. So it starts to glow red. Ooh, it's getting there. Is it starting to glow? Okay, now see how it's really, really hot? Now watch when I put it in. We're going to have one boil, the first boil. see the first boil? Okay, now keep watching it. Keep watching it until all the bubbles stop. Watching? Watch for a second boil. That vapor, that thin, it just broke down, didn't it? That thin layer of vapor broke down and it boiled a second time. Okay, so you know what I'm gonna ask you. Table 2, what caused that second boil?
The Leidenfrost Effect.
The Leidenfrost Effect. So can you explain that to me?
Because it burns at such a low temperature, the second layer of gas stops it from burning it.
Okay, so there's a little vapor, just a tiny film of vapor around that quarter. And when that collapses, then that's the second boil, when the methanol actually touches the quarter. So that quarter, when it was red like that, that's 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. But your methanol boils at 148. So you have that initial boil, that first boil. And then after about 2 seconds, that little layer of vapor, it breaks down and it boils again. Now, why did it change color? If you look at it carefully,
because the copper.
Yeah, we know that alloys are a physical change, and your coin is mostly copper and nickel. And so if you get it really hot, that copper starts to migrate toward the outside of the quarter. And the example I gave you was a grilled cheese sandwich. So the bread on the outside is kind of tan, but if you microwave it too long, some of the cheese starts to leak through the bread. And in the same sense, some of the copper started to migrate toward the outside of your coin, and it starts to look kind of pinkish, kind of orangish like that. And that's just the copper coming through. A quarter is about 84% copper. And now I'm with table 3. And Persia, you got your quarter ready? Okay, we're gonna demonstrate the Leidenfrost effect. We're gonna get our torch going. Okay, there we go. Okay, here we go. And we want to get this nice and hot until it's about 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we're going to put it in the methanol and we're going to watch for a double boil. Yeah, that's pretty hot. Okay, ready? Watch the methanol, watch the boil. That's the first boil. Okay, keep watching it till all the bubbles stop. Watch for a second boil. Here it comes. Watch. Isn't that weird? Okay, so some questions about this. Table 3, can you tell me why did it boil a second time?
Because the protected layer of gas.
Yeah, around the quarter broke down. That's called the Leidenfrost effect. So this quarter had just a thin film of vapor around it. But after that first boil wore down, that little thin protective layer, that broke down, and then it boiled a second time. Can you guys tell me, why did the quarter change color?
Because it's mostly copper, and the copper is like coming to the outside.
Yeah, the copper is bleeding through the nickel, it's coming to the surface. And that's why it changed colors. It's not a silver quarter anymore. Now it's kind of a pink quarter. Nice job. Okay. And we know that an alloy is a physical change. A mixture of metal is not a chemical reaction. That's a physical change. Okay, so we're coming to our next table. Table 4, you ready for this? Okay. The Leidenfrost Effect. I'm going to start our torch here. There we go. Okay, Gabby, you got the quarter? Okay. All right. Ready? It's got to get really hot. Here we go. So it starts to turn pink. The pink, not yet. Gotta get even hotter. It's starting to glow. Okay, now watch when we put it in the methanol. go. That's the first boil. Keep watching. Keep watching. Watch that second boil. Okay, it stopped. Watch, 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 watch. Here it comes, here it comes. Here comes the second boil. Oh! So can you tell me, why did it boil twice?
Because the first time it had a thin layer of vapor, and then the vapor went away, so it boiled the second time.
That's exactly right. And what's that called? That's called the Leidenfrost
Effect.
The Leidenfrost Effect. Now, why did the quarter change color? Because now it's kind of pink, kind of reddish.
Because it's 84%, around 84% copper, so the copper started to bleed through.
That's right, Gabby. It's 84% copper, and so some of the copper started to melt toward the surface of the coin. Nice job, table 4. And here I am with table 6, ready to demonstrate the Leidenfrost effect. And Amani, you've got the quarter. Now we want to ask a couple questions. Why does it boil twice, and why does the color on the quarter change from silver to kind of a pink color? So we got our blowtorch going, and we've got our quarter. Okay, so are you ready? We got to get it really, really hot. Until it starts to glow. Not quite ready. That's getting pretty hot. Okay, you ready? Okay, it's gonna boil twice. So watch what happens when we put it in the methanol. That's the first boil. Okay, keep watching.
Stinks.
And that's gonna simmer down. Keep watching. Here comes the second boil. Here it comes. There it was. Now, it's not supposed to do that. That's really weird. Why did the quarter boil twice? Why did it do that?
Because of the Leidenfrost effect, because there is a very thin layer of vapor, and the boil was just from the vapor, and then the second boil is when the vapor collapsed and the liquid touched the quarter and it boiled again.
That's awesome. It's the Leidenfrost effect. And you're right, Diego, there's a thin layer of vapor around that quarter that kind of protects it for a few seconds. And when that layer of vapor breaks down, then the methanol touches the quarter and it boils the second time. Now, Amani, why did the quarter change color?
Because it has copper.
Yeah, it has copper. Most of your quarter is copper and a little bit of nickel, like maybe about 84% copper. And so if you get it really hot, the copper starts to move toward the outside of the quarter. It starts to ooze through the nickel. And that's called an alloy when you mix metal. Now, is that a physical change or a chemical change?
It's physical.
Good, that's a physical change. Awesome, okay. And now we're coming to table 7. You've been so patient over here, waiting for the Leidenfrost effect. Now, who has your quarter? Awesome, okay. Alicia's ready. Okay, so I'm gonna start your torch here, and then we'll get the quarter, okay? Good. My tongs. Our quarter. Okay, ready? Here we go. We're getting hot. Oh, look how hot it is. It's about 1200 degrees now. We're gonna put it in the methanol and watch what happens. Watch very closely. It's going to boil once, and then it's going to boil a second time. Okay, watch. Watch that quarter.
It's rainbow.
Keep watching it. Oh, it's the second boil. And look how much it changed color. Isn't that weird? Okay, so some questions. Can you guys tell me, why did it boil a second time?
Because the protective layer, it breaks down.
Okay, so there's a protective layer of vapor around the quarter, and that's the first boil, and then you said it breaks down. That's right. So that tiny film breaks down, and then it boils the second time. Can you tell me, why does it look like that? Look how much it changed color.
Because of the copper.
Yeah, there's copper in the quarter, and it starts to melt through the nickel. Now, when you melt metal together, that's called an alloy. Is an alloy a physical change or a chemical change?
Physical change.
Good, it's a physical change. Sixth graders demonstrating the Leidenfrost Effect in RamZland.